Okay, I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge of the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, to the October 16th meeting. Minutes of the... someone's car is beeping. Charlie, you're not in the back, are you? All right. Minutes of the October 2nd meeting. Do we have a motion for approval? We got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Financial report and payment of the bills. Do we have a motion to approve the financial report? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the financial report? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Lou, you are on. Give us an update.
First, the update on the neighborhood community center. The building footer, concrete block foundation wall, interior foundation insulation have all been installed except for one location. They have to get equipment in and out of there. Wickersham's contract for Meadows is infilling, putting pressure run inside that building. I estimate probably about 1,300 cubic yards will have to be put in that building to get it to the right elevation before a concrete slab is installed. They began, the schedule for erecting the building will begin October 28th, given we have proper weather. Eastern County Board of Education and the Town of Elkton have both issued utility easements to Delmarva Power in order for them to run three-phase service, to be underground service from Bow Street to the building. The Wickersham's HVAC, plumbing, electrical system contractors are submitting plans to Charles Marlowe for review. Cost of the project to date, including 3 change orders totaling $114,240, is $3,564,240. Town has paid Wickersham $836,054 to date. Town CDBG grant is for $800,000. G. Mentor has submitted two CDBG for reimbursement, $240,453 so far, and is still pending $559,547. That'll be going in very shortly, and we get reimbursed for it. The balance after the grant has been expired for the town will be $2,764,240. Project is on target for completion in June of 2020.
What month? May?
June.
April? Can you give us any?
Miracles happen, but
Can you give us any updates on the armory that can be discussed?
The cafeteria, she's the Department of General Services, sent me an email and said that she's going to prepare the agreement of sale. As soon as that draft comes to us, of course I'll have council, Mr. Downs, review it, and then bring it before the board, when the board agrees to the terms under the sale. Then that process will begin. It has to go to the Board of Public Works for approval. Of course, that's the governor, the treasurer, comptroller. And once they approve it, they said between 60 and 90 days later, we'll have a settlement on the armory.
Very good. Anything else to report?
That's it.
Very good.
I have a proclamation. That's next thing.
Oh, very good.
The Economic Development Week, Proclamation 16, 2019. Proclamation of the Mayor and Commissioners of the Town of Elkton declaring October 21st through the 27th, 2019 as Economic Development Week in Elkton. Whereas economic development relies on local government leadership to promote, support a vision for developing resilient communities. And whereas the Mayor and Commissioners recognize that supporting existing businesses, creating opportunities for new businesses and entrepreneurs are key components in strengthening Elkton's economic future for generations to come. And whereas economic development organizations such as the Maryland Economic Development Association and the Elkton Alliance serve as resources committed to enhancing Elkton's economic growth and vitality. Now therefore be it known that the Mayor and Commissioners of the Town of Elkton hereby proclaim October 21st through the 27th, 2019 as Economic Development Week in Elkton, and encourage all citizens to recognize the contributions of economic development organizations and the importance of building and maintaining a healthy economy.
We have a motion to approve proclamation P16-2019.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that proclamation? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Commissioner Jean had her eye operated on today, so she's not with us this evening. I should have reported that earlier. Anything else, Lou?
That's it.
John Downs, what can you tell me about the West Main Street property?
Well, as you know, I've been working on that for about 3 years in the hopes of getting that place torn down. It is in deplorable condition, has housed people that have broken in, and I'm happy to report that it would appear that we're going to get that torn down in the next 2 weeks.
Fantastic.
So that will turn from an eyesore and a safety hazard, and certainly a fire hazard, into an empty lot. So
Fantastic.
I agreed to be a broker to go between the person who's doing it and the out-of-state person that owns the property. And sufficient commitment has been made that tells me that they're serious about moving forward and getting it done. I believe it's going to be less than a 2-day project, so it should be going shortly.
That is fantastic news. I think we'll all be happy about that. I wanted to thank staff for handling the landlord meeting today. I couldn't attend, but I know the chief and Dan, I think you were both there. Thank you so much. Anything that we need to be made aware of? I wasn't.
No, nothing real important. Just some things I think Dan and I, some trash down in the manor and that kind of thing. Usual business.
Fantastic. Thank you. I wanted to touch base and let, we hadn't met since the 2nd of October, and anyone that was fortunate enough to come down to downtown Elkton on October 4th, our first Friday, and it was a loaded with Elkton alumni, and it was, I have to tell you, I think it was one of our finest events that we've hosted in years. The estimates have gone from anywhere from, I heard some folks say 1,000 people, but I think we realized there was well over 2,000 people in downtown on that Friday night. We had a lot of events going on. I can tell you all the businesses enjoyed it, and there certainly wasn't any trouble, but I wanted to thank everyone involved for making that a success. And I think that here in the near future, I think I'd like to ask the board, since you got 3 that are Elkton alumni, maybe to take a look at a future date, and I think that we should try to make this a yearly event. It was the first Friday in October, but I think that this would be a great thing to host maybe every first Friday in October. But you guys take a look at some dates, and maybe we move forward and proclaim that day Elkton Alumni Day, and we can twist our arms to all come back at least once a year to be part of this event. So I think if we proclaim a day after the alumni, I think they may enjoy that. So that might be something we might want to take a look at.
So you're discussing it a specific class or all of them?
All classes.
Okay, that makes it simple.
Yep, all classes. All classes would be, it'd just be Elkton Alumni Day in the town of Elkton, and maybe we shoot for a first Friday event. It seemed like it worked very, very well being the first Friday in October. I think kids are back to school, everyone's kind of settled down. I think that would, there was a comment when I mentioned this to some of the friends at the coffee table that I have coffee with every morning. There was a comment that maybe the history had always shown that over the years they used to come back on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But I think with alumni that's moved away, I don't think that they would want to come in the day before Thanksgiving for this event. I think having it maybe that first Friday in October, any first Friday would be good. But guys, give that some thought, and let's come up with maybe maybe Katie will do a little run with it and see how it could work out. But it was a wonderful event. Yesterday, we were very fortunate to host the county cross-country meet in Meadow Park. And I can tell you, the Public Works Department and Elkton Police Department and all of the town staff put a lot of energy and effort in getting Meadow Park to where it's at today. And I really appreciate that. And I was actually interviewing the first group of young ladies that came through and asked them how they liked the course. And I think the winning time for the females were 19 minutes and 50 seconds for 3.1 miles. And that makes it a pretty interesting, not so easy of a course, but not so tough of a course. So I think we're spot on with what we have. They all were talking about the one hill, which really stressed them down a little bit, but overall, I think the teachers and the coaches of the meet were really enjoyable that it was hosted. It was a great place to watch a county meet. And, you know, I also want to thank Ed Ginder, who helped put that together. Ed, thank you so much, because I think it's something that I'd like to see happening more and more of with that event. So, with that, Charles, you have anything this evening?
No, other than, of course, you wouldn't have football in the first Friday. Certainly it was a good crowd downtown as well, but also if you went to another end at the football game and you added all the numbers that were visiting Elkton, you would probably have another 1,000 from what's down here. And that was a good day as well, so all's good.
It was very good. Earl?
Yeah, I don't have anything to report, but I remember bringing up something about the bridges on the north side near Bridge Street. I'd like to see if we can do something to beautify those bridges. Every time I ride over, I think about it. It's been a couple of years now I brought that up. But I know it would be the state, county, state, but
They won't pay.
they won't pay them. Maybe they could permission to do something.
When you first suggested it, I sent a letter to the district engineer.
They won't do nothing about it. Okay, they won't fix the
Will they
bridge
let
on
us?
Bridge Street. They won't fix the bridge on Delaware
I
Avenue.
don't
They just
know
won't
if
do
it's
nothing.
us painted or not.
Well, could you check and
He
see?
normally don't maintain state property.
It could be something to make a little bit more inviting for the bridge. I see other towns
I'll
and
send a letter to
cities
the
doing
district
it.
engineer and tell them that we would do it at our labor and expense. They may commit it. It's
Just a thought.
expensive though, because
Makes it one of them.
it's a
It's not a regular rolling process, it's a spray one. It's,
Just a thought.
yeah, it's, and then
That's it.
responsible.
Thank you.
Rob?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about a couple of things on my paper here. We're getting a lot of work on the buildings behind Main Street that face Howard Street, and it's really looking good back there, more inviting back there. I would like to see us talk to Eater Park and maybe get some electricity ran to that gazebo, put that on the table, and we could start using it for a variety of events. The Halloween parade is next Friday. The Arts Council's gala is the Friday after, I believe. Does anybody know about that date?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
That's a real nice event.
November 2nd, yeah.
November 2nd is the Arts Council annual gala.
No,
Very nice
no,
event.
no, Rob, it's November 1st.
November 1st.
It is.
That's it. You're
That's the
right.
gala, yeah.
November 1st, the Arts Council gala. And I would highly recommend it. And keep your eye on the Elkton Alliance's website, because we have a lot of activities and events coming up here in the fall, leading into winter. Things like the Scarecrow Contest, which is going on now, the Cookie Throwdown, which is coming up again, the Cash for Christmas event, and the Christmas Tree Contest, among other things. So keep your eye on that Elkton Alliance's website for lots of exciting events going on downtown.
That it?
That's it.
Okay, this is time to meet. We open up the floor for any comments good for the town of Elkton. If you have anything to say, just raise your hand and come on down and sign the paper. and say whatever you need to say. Anyone have anything to say this evening?
I have a question.
Shirley, come on down.
Have you heard anything more about Southfield? That's all I have.
No, probably that's why some of the folks are here tonight. The next step for any of the projects in regards to, they won't come in front of the mayor and commissioners anymore. It would go in front of the planning board. And I don't know if there's any plans to be submitted yet. You could contact, or we could contact for you. In fact, Michelle, can you write me a note to, we'll contact the planning office and see if there's been anything submitted. They wouldn't submit anything. It's nothing's been approved yet as far as, it's not a law yet. I think the law comes into effect October 23rd for the HUD language. And then at that point, they would submit their plans to the planning board, the concept plan of what it would be. And then at that point, you have an opportunity to speak. Mr. Bill Cow?
We had a meeting last Friday with the MDOT, and the traffic studies are in process. There have been no conclusions drawn out of those yet. So they expect those in the not too distant future, and there's also an economic impact feasibility study being done. So I think that'll bring some answers. And I think the thing that most people are concerned about is the traffic. So I think that'll shed some light on what the future plans are for that, and we'll certainly have that in the near future.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that it is a process that has to happen here, and so a lot of the concerns, and I read probably just about every coastal in Kensington courts. I haven't went over to the other site. I did read the website, so I'm very aware of what the concerns are, and I feel pretty comfortable you will have answers for all of these. Now, whether it's answers you agree or disagree with, that's another thing. But I feel pretty sure to tell you that traffic issues have to be handled before there's anything can happen. The water and storm runoff issues have to be addressed. They can't do things on wetlands. There has to be improvements done to these sites today. There's a lot of regulations in place. So I feel pretty comfortable to say no one's going to be 100% happy, but I think that the pain will be down a little bit after you see, let's hope, once it comes through the correct process and you start hearing some things. Any other comments or questions? Mr. Ed Ginder.
On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, I'd like to thank the chief and Dan for the great job he did organizing and setting up that county meet. We had over 80 young men and women participate from the 5 high schools in the county, and Tome School was invited, but they weren't able to field a team for that day. The athletic director from Bow Manor High School already has mentioned to me that there's construction going on in a new school down there, so they're looking for a possible home for next year's for their individual meets, and they would like to use the Elkton track for their cross-country meets. Got very good rave reviews from the people. We had parents there from all 5 high schools, from all the other communities in the county. So Elkton is changing and it's getting better. So we are Elkton.
Thank you, Ed. This meeting is adjourned.